Gotta dust off this microphone because it's a little dusty. I haven't filmed in a while. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome here if you're new. My name is Hello Studios, and I don't think I was whimsical enough this year. 2025 is almost over, and you know, we need to make something fun. We need those whimsical fairy vibes. So today we are going to be making a fall-themed unicorn. Everyone say hi to Gary. Gary, all hail the boy, the man. Boop, boop, boop. I gotta use my shiny new 3D printer as much as possible. On this channel, we typically customize toys, but I do want to branch out a little bit. I'm feeling kind of crazy. We have gone a little bit more into the 3D printing model territory in the past few months, and I'm so excited and honored to be able to paint this unicorn sculpture made by Leylina's Customs over on Instagram. She essentially creates her own 3D printed fantasy slash animal slash kind of anything she wants sculptures. So I've seen some incredible work from her. Alyssa sells these models, notably on Patreon, where you can print them out for yourself, or you can always buy her finished paints. So please go check her out after this video. She provided the base today for me, so I could just have fun and enjoy painting her beautiful art. After removing the supports, the first step is to get rid of these printing lines, which I used filler primer for. It actually worked incredibly well. I barely had to sand afterward, and for a model of this size, I found that kind of crazy. This model already looks exceptional just straight out of the 3D printer, but I do want to add a little bit of sculpture to it, especially to convey more of the theme. So in sketching out the design, I mainly just tried to make this character look like a creature you would see if you were just walking in the woods and happened to get a rare glimpse. With her warm tones and dark hues, she would mesh right in with the woodland around her. I also added some gold because, yes, on her hooves and this sort of star jewelry attached to her horn could kind of symbolize the North Star, like she's a guiding spirit within this world. And then one of the more exciting things I'm adding as a final touch are going to be tree branches peeking out from her mane with little fall leaves attached to them. Okay, so it is about 5 o'clock. My goal is to get all the sculpting done in one go. I got my big ball of epoxy sculpt here. And I have some brand new sculpting tools, which might be single use if I use them on epoxy, because epoxy's not the most friendly for, you know, being washable. But we'll see. She had a small printing error on her front foot, but luckily it didn't really mess with the overall design too much, and it was relatively easy to just glob some epoxy sculpt there. So I first sculpted some fluffy fur for her hooves, something kind of reminiscent of Clydesdale horses. And all the branches were sculpted out of epoxy as well. The best way I found for this is to just roll out the individual limbs directly on my desk, and then chop them and place them where I feel like it suits naturally. These blending brushes actually are ready. 100 out of 10. I can't believe I've lived this long without them. And then, of course, the star piece of jewelry. I made it in a very similar way, just kind of lining it up on my desk, hoping for the best. And it actually only took me 2 tries to make this, so I would say that's a win. And that's a pretty minimal sculpting. So after that was dry, I went ahead and mixed the base color with the closest match I could do, and started to paint the figurine. So this primer not only smoothed out the entire figurine, but it made it a lot easier to paint directly on with the acrylic because it had something to stick to. This was genuinely so fun. I've been making LPS customs for a lot of years, but it's also good to step out of that comfort zone every once in a while, explore other mediums. As soon as I put paintbrush to this figure, it felt so exciting and refreshing. I painted 2 coats of that first color, and then I went back on with some darker brown. Since this figurine's eyes aren't very defined, I first sketched them out with a colored pencil so I would know where to leave gaps. The first coat of this brown looks like very watery, but after you do a few coats, it turns solid and looks a lot better. Ugh! I gotta just drop the figure in real life. I was looking at her, I was talking, she's okay. She lived. I don't always draw out my designs before I paint stuff like this, but with a pattern this intricate, it's very helpful to know what to paint first so you're not mixing colors multiple times for when different tones layer interchangeably. It keeps the whole model very consistent and clean. So I started with this neutral brown and then went back on with this more rich dark brown. The color tone doesn't look too different on camera here, but it will show up a lot better once it's dried. and I'm layering that directly on top of the previous layer and covering the entirety of the hair with it as well. While painting this hair, I really realized how much of this model is hair, because I ended up having to remix this color 3 times because I kept running out of paint with how much hair there was. But it's completely worth it because she is absolutely so beautiful with these flowing, luscious locks. And I don't know if it's just because this is miniature model paint, but this was going on like it was chocolate, and it looks like chocolate too. We are about at the halfway point of this video, so I do want to take a moment to say a huge thank you to our usual sponsor, Littlest Pet Shop. Today we are opening the Sweet and Stylish Crouching Cat set. I saw this Crouching Cat a little bit early with sneak peeks being on the LPS crew team. I just think she's so cute, so I'm just so happy to have her in my hands. I genuinely said, like, all I want this LPS to do is, like, I just want her to bat her eyelashes at me. She's so cute. This is a collector set that comes in 4 different styles, and each of the pets come with their own trinkets, accessories, and outfits. I'm particularly fond of these miniature pastries. I think they are so cute. As a reminder, if you want to check out Generation 7, you can find them at your local Target, Walmart, GameStop, Amazon, the Littlest Pet Shop website, and many other stores near you. As always, thank you to Littlest Pet Shop for sponsoring this video. If you guys are enjoying it, make sure to leave a subscribe. And with that all being said, let's get back into it. Of course, the best part is these fawn spots. Nothing is so cute as little deer spots. I think it elevates any design. And then I went ahead and took this white color and started adding other detailing around her body, including her ears. If I can, I try to avoid painting white on top of darker colors like this, especially with acrylic, because I just find that the white kind of goes on very thick and it can look streaky and it takes a lot of coats. But I have been experimenting a bit with paint brands recently, and I find that model color works very well for this. So in this case, it went on very pigmented, and it was a lot more relaxing of an experience. I don't really know what the pattern is for these dark brown streaks going down her face, like tears almost, but I find it so beautiful. I guess it's something you would see on a cheetah. This design is almost a mishmash of a bunch of animals I just find beautiful. And of course I painted her belly and her chest with this same white coloring, and then went back and started painting the foxtail on her hair. I didn't really want this to be like a very subtle ombre, which is something I could achieve with an airbrush. I kind of like the idea of the individual paint strokes, or I guess hair streaks, being very defined, almost cartoonish. I've actually seen people with this hairstyle, just the lightened ends. I think it's so pretty. Honestly, kind of tempted to do it on my own hair. With the theme of this project, I kind of got a little curious on unicorns and their mythology, especially because they are kind of considered their own form of cryptid, a creature that doesn't really exist, but has many fantastical tales of ancient history around them. And you know, I think I might be in the minority of people. Call me Delulu. I actually don't think it's a crazy idea to think that unicorns may exist, may have exist, or may still exist today. And it's mostly because the main difference between a unicorn and other 4-legged mammals with similar anatomy is the horn that pokes out of their head. And I really don't think that's such a crazy feature that seems so fantastical it wouldn't exist, such as maybe fire-breathing dragons. But what is interesting is a lot of these creatures do have biological features that exist in animals today, most notably a narwhal for a unicorn. Even the closest thing to a fire-breathing lizard we do have does kind of exist, if not in a very small, less intimidating form. I hope all this talk of unicorns distracted you from this absolutely horrible footage I was getting of painting this model's eyes. You guys think I wouldn't have been doing this for years at this point. Anyway, with the finishing details and eyes done, final step is to put these beautiful fall leaves on, and I'm using a technique that I very recently tried out with paper. You might have seen the reel I made that showed this process already when I placed them on a leafy, witchy hat. My concept art depicted a witch hat enveloped in foliage and leaves, kind of almost as if she just swiped it on her way and held it together with her sorcery. And this turned out to be one of the coolest ideas I've done. I love it. It's awesome how small effects like this can just elevate the entire piece. So yeah, it's relatively simple. I just cut out pieces of leaves from paper that I had painted, and using some Mod Podge, I just glue them directly on the limbs. And I just like the way the mixed media works. It looks very childish and playful and such a nice final touch. And with that, the unicorn is completely done. It was such an absolute pleasure to paint this model. In the short process I did to research some unicorns, I stumbled across this movie called The Last Unicorn. This is a side tangent, by the way. Welcome to my channel. I came across this film called The Last Unicorn, and it's something that I've seen before. I mean, I knew of its existence, but I hadn't realized how beautiful this film looked. It's just got that old kind of Disney animated feel of hand-drawn animation and the way the environments move, but almost a touch of like, I don't know if anime is the right term, but the way like the eyes are drawn, it's not really anime, but it's got this sort of artistic elegance, just kind of meshes those two styles together that makes its own thing, and it's very similarly to how I actually really love to draw myself. So I'm definitely gonna watch this movie. Tell me if you've seen it. It looks incredible. It looks so pretty. Anyway, with that all being said, I hope you guys enjoy this video and me exploring different art mediums. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay healthy and happy and artsy, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!